Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my responses of the 31 Days of Tarot. 31 Days of Tarot is a series of prompts that Ethany creates. I will link Ethany's channel and her video talking about what the prompts are in the cards and in the description box down below. Provided I remember, I will do my very, very best. I'm sure I won't forget. But this is going to be my responses for prompt day number 10, I think? Yes. Share some of your tarot decks that have been long lost in your collection that you want to reconnect with in 2020. So I'm going to be talking about some of the decks that I think have a lot to offer that I haven't had as much time with as I really want, or that I'm just generally looking forward to diving back into this year. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right in. So the first one I want to talk about is the Sun and Moon Tarot. This particular deck is a full size that I've trimmed. The creator is Vanessa DeCourt, and my copy is fully trimmed and is also edged in black. It originally had white borders all the way around. You can get this deck with black borders in a tinned size. This is a really, really cool deck, and it gave me like this really great goosebumpy, shivery kind of feeling when I first got my hands on these cards. I think that this is a deck that I feel like not a lot of people talk about. It's beautiful and very, very easy to read, and the original version does have keywords. This deck is actually loosely based, I believe, on the Thoth Tarot deck versus the Rider-Waite-Smith, and yet it reads well regardless. I think that this is a really wonderful gateway deck if you're interested in the Rider-Waite-Smith, or sorry, in the Thoth deck, because I feel like it's really accessible. And I love this particular artwork style. Like, this is the Three of Cups, and I think it does a beautiful job of being very Rider-Waite-Smith, but there's other cards here that do seem to speak more to the Thoth. I love how open the environments are in this deck, and I love this Eight of Cups. Oh my gosh. It's so great with this walking on the end of this pier. It's just a beautiful little deck, and I feel like it got kind of neglected in my collection this past year, so I'm looking forward to giving it some attention in 2020. Another deck that I want to talk about, I think it came into my collection around the same time, and that is the Star Tarot. Now here's the thing about the Star Tarot. Wow, I did such a beautiful job edging this deck. I actually completely forgot. This has been super neglected this year. This is the backs. Now this deck is put out by Schiffer Publishing, and it had these giant blue borders, so I did trim it right away, and I used a silver Sharpie at the bottom here to note the suit and the, you know, whether it was a court card or the number if it was a minor arcana card. It's a really beautiful, visually rich deck. I do kind of wish it had been bigger and borderless, but guess what? It's getting republished in 2020. Borderless, and I don't know if it'll be matte. We'll see. Hopefully. But even if it's glossy, if it's just full size and borderless, that will be amazing, because these images, they just deserve to be bigger. This is a really, really wonderful deck, and the guidebook is incredible. So I would love to have some more time with this deck this year. Another deck that I had actually planned to spend some more quality time with this deck in the fall of this past year, but it just didn't happen. I got wrapped up in all of my Halloween and spooky decks, and this one ended up getting neglected. But I freaking love this deck. This is the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. This is what the backings look like. I have edged mine in this like sort of coppery color. I believe I used an ink pad for that. This is a really cool deck, and it's got a really unique voice. Barbara Moore wrote the guidebook, and it's written in this beautiful narrative style that actually kind of describes the scene that you're seeing and what's happening in the card, and it makes it really easy to get to know them better. But I just haven't had enough time with this deck to really intimately get to know the different cards, and because of that, I feel like it's just not a deck I reach for. So I really want to have some more time to spend with it to get more familiar, because I really love it. It's just a matter of not having spent enough quality time with it. But I just think it's very expressive, really, really beautiful. And the creators of this deck are actually working on a new deck. I don't know when that one's supposed to come out. I want to say late 2020 or possibly later. There's a Facebook group. I wish I could remember the name of it. If you remember the name, let us know in the comments down below. That would be super helpful. But it looks like it's going to be really, really beautiful. Same art style, different tarot. looking forward to it. So that is the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. And another one that just didn't get enough love, particularly in the second half of 2019, although this is one of my favorite decks of all time, and that is the beautiful Mary L. Tarot by Marie White. My copy is the first edition, and it is borderless because I've trimmed it, not because it came that way. And just like the Star Tarot, I trimmed all the borders off and I used a silver Sharpie to denote the element. And its number. I really debated about whether or not to get the second edition of this deck. However, some of the cards were changed and I wasn't on board with the changes. As much as the creepy Hierophant card really seems to rub people wrong, it's powerful and it's really helped me with some shadow work. I'm seeing if I can find it, even though you probably all know it. Here we go. So this is one of the cards that was changed for the second edition. But the other card that was changed for the second edition was the Judgment card. And I love this Judgment card. This was actually probably the deal breaker, to be honest, because I love this fiery, bright red Phoenix in Judgment. There's still a Phoenix in Judgment in the second edition, but it's not the same. And I just really prefer the first one. I also kind of love the crazy sort of mysterious High Priestess from the first edition, and the second edition, that card has changed to be a little bit more Rider-Waite-Smith. I do love the second edition High Priestess. I really, really do. But there's something about this first deck that I really love. I really love. I wish that the second edition had came out with the new cards and an option, like it had also included the old cards so you could choose which one you wanted to work with. But alas, it did not. And so even though these are glossy, and I had to trim them myself instead of the new borderless, more matte ones that came out, I just love my first edition and I don't see myself changing that anytime soon, or that changing anytime soon. That's probably what I mean. And finally, at one last deck that I would like to work with more in 2019, and that is the Ancestral Path Tarot. This was a reprint this year of a deck that was actually from the 90s, I believe. It's stunning. The cards are enormous. Like, I know that doesn't help. Where's the standard card? Let me grab the Tarot of the Hidden Realm so you can just see how big these are. They're real big. So like, they're big. They're real big. That's a standard card. There's your Ancestral Path card. But these are really, really cool. Now, I ended up having I had a wonderful experience working with the deck, but I kind of knew that I was gonna try and get a hold of the full-size guidebook because the reprint did not include the full-size guidebook, which was a darn shame because I had heard that the full-size guidebook includes the stories behind the minor arcana, and each of the minor arcana, as you can see, features a different culture and a sort of different geographic inspiration. So the cup suit is this like Arthurian, it is actually the legend of King Arthur and Guinevere and Lancelot. The wand suit, I'm not familiar with the story, but that features, it looks like, I think it's Egyptian? I think it's Egyptians in the wands. And that's the cups again. The swords is a Japanese mythology featured. And I think it was Pentacles was a native feeling. I'm trying to find some. Yeah, Pentacles was like a native, they call them sacred circles. It was like a native story. So I worked with this deck, but kind of half-heartedly because I really wanted that full-size guidebook, and this little book that it comes with is just, it left something to be desired. There's still some references, particularly in the courts, to the main players, so you still get to learn some of what the original creator intended here, but it wasn't the same. Then I found a copy on a used book site, or I think somebody offered to send it to me. I think I maybe either bought this from somebody who contacted me through YouTube. I can't remember now. But I got a hold of the original guidebook. It's much better now, but unfortunately when this book came in, it smelled so much of smoke. Yeah, it still does a bit. It still does a bit, but I've put it in baking soda, I've added lavender to it, I've done all kinds of things, and it's a bit better. It's been airing out. So I want to work with you. I just found some baking soda. Pro tip, that does actually help. It doesn't completely do it, but it definitely helps. In any case, now that I have the original guidebook for this deck, I do want to work with this deck again and be able to read all of the original descriptions for the cards which are featured in this bigger guidebook. So that is my plan for 2020. I'm really looking forward to that experience. I'll keep you all posted. But those represent the, I guess there's 5. Did I pick 5? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 decks that I am looking to give a little more love in 2020. I would love to hear what yours are. Hopefully you are responding in some way to Ethany's prompts. If you are, let me know where I can read, watch, or view your answers, whether that's on Instagram or YouTube or your blog or whatever. Let me know down in the comments below maybe what decks you're looking forward to working with in 2020 or giving a little bit more love from your collection. Would love to hear that. As always, remember you can book a reading with me over at supportivetarot.com, and please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!